Welcome back, everyone. This is Cody Hart for Government Accountability. It is Tuesday, November 30th, and I wanted to give an update to everyone. First, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving holiday weekend. I know I did, and I hope that you have enjoyed that I recently published the improved audio for the hearing I had earlier this month in the Skagit County Superior Court. On replacement ballots. You can see on my YouTube channel, replacement ballots, part 1 and 2 improved audio are available. And I wanted to also give you an update today on something that's kind of exciting and ask for everyone's help. So over the last few months, you guys have noticed that I put out a number of videos. And one of those, or I should say a number of those, 3 in particular, election crimes and corruption. You'll see I have 3 videos here. They go back to the primary, and they are undercover videos that show during the election process election officials making statements to myself and undercover informants about the invalidation process. And I'll play a clip here real quick to remind everyone.
Print your replacement?
That'd be great.
So this will invalidate the other one that we sent to you, so
Okay.
you might still get it in the mail.
You want me to bring it in if I do?
No, you can just tear it in half, or burn it, or shred it, or whatever you'd like to do.
Okay. So as everyone heard, and I've brought up before, I spoke at a hearing in Skagit County about this repeatedly on 3 different videos. 2 informants and myself, we had the same statements made by election officials. And going into the hearing this month in November, it was rather interesting in some of the paperwork that was filed that I thought I would bring to everyone's attention. So what we have in front of us here is a response to initial filings from the prosecuting attorney's office. I'll remind everyone, as you can see in the bottom right here of their paper, the prosecuting attorney's office is the defense counsel for the auditor. Okay, so the conflicts of interest are humongous here for getting any kind of justice as a member of the public against these officials. This is, as it's titled, the response to motion to show cause. And this is the response from the prosecuting attorney to my statements made to the court about what I thought and were improper behaviors by the auditor's office during the election. This is the 2021 election, mind you. And I wanted the court to act on that. And in response, before the hearing that I just had, we had some statements made in writing here by the prosecuting attorney's office that I really wanted to share with everyone. So on near the last part of this entire document, I've highlighted it here. I just thought I'd read this out loud. WAC 434-250-080 provides that if for some reason an additional ballot is received from a voter, then only the first ballot received is counted and the second ballot is not counted. Subsection 4 provides the additional ballot is considered invalid. Thus, contrary to the petitioner, which is me, assertion, the issuance of the replacement ballot does not invalidate the originally mailed ballot, but instead it is the second voted ballot which is invalidated. Okay, so this is very critical to explain. And if you watch the hearing in full, you hear me talk about this. It wasn't the focus, the primary focus of most of the hearing, but I mentioned it and I wanted to emphasize to everyone out there who didn't understand the video of undercover footage at the election office. Those statements made by election officials were lies. Those were false statements. And in the state of Washington, that kind of false statement is a crime. Now, I went into great lengths with the judge explaining that because that false statement was made, the public reliance on reviewing and making sure that that other ballot didn't get counted, they weren't worried about it because the election office had said, don't worry about it. In reality, that ballot that they lost couldn't find, whatever the situation was, if somebody turned it in, and it was signed, and their machine didn't say it was a fraud, it would be counted first, and you would never know. This was a very significant argument of concern to the court, to the judge, and I think they all understood the legal implications of this, but they seemed to ignore the fact that we were lied to. I was lied to, the informers were lied to, and we believe that there are hundreds upon hundreds of people that were lied to. Current records on the primary put it somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 people, closer to 2,000, and the general election, the same thing. Those lies were crimes, and for those in the public, I want you to know that I've escalated this matter significantly, and I want everyone to understand that I don't tolerate this kind of behavior, and I wanted to share with everyone that this now is a criminal investigation in the Skagit County Sheriff's Office, and I've given the list of who I believe the victims of this crime are, of just the false statements, because this was a agency-wide issue. From what we're seeing, everyone who went into that office, nearly 2,000 people were given false information about the election invalidation ballot process. And so the sheriff, you can contact them if you're a victim of this during the primary election or the general election. Both, I believe, are under review right now. The statutes have been given to the sheriff's office, at least the ones I can provide. They have assigned a case number, which is going to be on the screen here. And if you want to reference it, fine. You can contact them through their website or their phone. They will ask you what you need to know. But again, if you were given if there's false statements made to you, I would ask that you get it on the record. Your comfort level with doing this, I know it's not always comfortable to call the police and to make statements about people, but it's important to understand that they did make these false statements. They admitted it in court. It was a very significant item for their own prosecutor defense counsel. It's kind of, it doesn't seem right to say, but that's what it is, to confirm that they had made false statements in their video. So I wanted to just make sure everyone was aware of that, and to make sure you knew to call the sheriff's office. And I also thought that it would be worthwhile to point out to everyone something very interesting I have found out. And that is through the Secretary of State's office. And you go to look for data and statistics. The information about your ballot being a suspended ballot, which is what it would be called, has been completely removed from the state database on the publicly distributed information. I've had some success requesting it through records requests outside of what they post, but they've started eliminating the record of that from people just to openly look at to see how many replacement ballots were issued. In Skagit County's election, in the 2021 general election, there were nearly 2,000. In the primary, there were nearly 2,000 as well. I was very vocal about this during the hearing. They should have only gone to the people who had the right to have them, such as the actual voter. There are conditions where if that person has a disability or is restricted from getting it, spouses and other persons through certain procedures can pick them up. But the judge currently has said that the reason he's not going to pursue reprimanding the Skagit County auditor is because his interpretation is that there is no restriction, which I will share with everyone else, is now going to be a matter in front of the the Court of Appeals. I have escalated it. I told you I did not agree with this judge, Judge Stiles. I thought it was just embarrassing what he has done through his lack of understanding of the English language and how it was written. I am very curious if the politics of this will be too overwhelming for the appeals court. I think we all know as a public what's going on here, and I can't stop myself. I'm going to fight this and make them put on the record that they don't think that people should have to prove who they are before they get a ballot, and that the state really does. This is the current position. It was decided in the last hearing. The current position is that There is no possession chain of custody requirement in the state of Washington for a replacement ballot. So that's tens upon hundreds of thousands of dollars of our funds in the election system that are being just completely abused, and then the integrity of the elections themselves are being abused. So I do wish me luck on the appeal process, but more importantly, I ask you at this time to please contact the Skagit County Sheriff's Office if you are. Case number again is on your screen, and let them know if false statements were made to you about the invalidation process. I think it's relevant. There's over 1,000 Skagitonians that were lied to by election officials, and I believe the election office did so intentionally myself. I don't think it was an accident. There's an investigation to figure out what's going on here and the impact of that 1 to 2,000 votes on local elections that are generally decided by only a dozen or two votes, maybe 100 votes. But most of these positions in this county are decided by only a dozen or so votes usually, maybe dozens, not hundreds, and not over 1,000 typically. So I think it's very critical, and I'm going to make them deal with it. Thanks again, everyone, for all your support. I've been getting great emails from you. I really appreciate your compliments on how I handled myself during the hearing. It's not very fun. It's not very easy. But as everyone knows, I'm a fighter, and I won't stop fighting for this because everyone deserves better. We deserve better than what we're getting, and someone's got to fight for us. So please join the fight in any way you can, and thanks again for your support.